Fox just interviewed me to talk about the upcoming TikTok ban. What do we know and what's going to happen? Let's dig into it. But before we do, I'm Kristen Roberts, award-winning intellectual property attorney and law firm owner here in San Diego, California. I am an expert on all things TikTok, expert on content creation and how to protect and monetize all of your content. Everyone seems to be really confused about what's happening. We've seen everybody shift over to Red Note already, and the government is taking notice because this is how people actually make their livings and make a lot of money. People are not going to give up those streams of income willingly, nor are they going to just shift over to Meta to make it happen. And they feel like the government hasn't been that forthcoming with them about why TikTok is such a national security risk. The only reason we've been given so far is the fact that it collects our data when so many other apps collect our data also just by fact of you using your phone. Your data is being collected, and our data is often sold to private buyers anyway. So it seems disingenuous that the data issue is truly the thing that's at issue here. But the Biden administration in just the last day or so has already talked about not enforcing the ban, even if the Supreme Court rules in the government's favor and upholds the TikTok ban. And this is because there's really two things at odds here. There's the First Amendment issues that the Supreme Court has been tasked with evaluating. Does TikTok ban violate Americans' right to free speech under the First Amendment? And the other side is the fact that people make money off of TikTok, and our government really does like to support small businesses. So when people's income streams are taken away, the government doesn't really like to do that without a viable option. And the government really did think that TikTok was going to sell to an American buyer. In the last 48 hours, there have been some talks between ByteDance and Elon Musk about potentially buying out TikTok. But when asked, ByteDance has said that it was a complete fabrication. So we don't know if this is true or not. However, TikTok's CEO has been invited to Trump's inauguration, and the Biden administration has said that they are going to punt this to the Trump administration to deal with in terms of its enforcement. Because remember, what's key here is that the ban is going to impose penalties on the hosting companies like Apple and the Google Play Store for hosting the app on it. And the Biden administration says we're not actually going to enforce those penalties. So what was going to be billions of dollars in potential penalties is now going to be nothing. So there's really nothing stopping these hosting companies from still keeping TikTok on their platforms. It does seem like regardless of what the Supreme Court rules, the ban itself is not going to go into effect because the enforcement of that ban really has no teeth when the president himself and Trump himself has said that they're not going to enforce those penalties that are supposed to be imposed. Stay tuned because I'm going to be on air again tomorrow to discuss the outcome of the ruling. Once we get it, we're supposed to get it sometime in the next hour. Follow for more. Let me know if you have any questions.